So, Ishmael, in the week, you were asking me what I would call this, right? And to be honest, like it's a textile bag or a checked bag or sack. I don't know, really.
Well, the history behind this will surprise you. That bag is called Ghana Must Go. And
Ghana
I'm
must
currently
go.
in Ghana. Yes, Ghana Must Go. The name dates back to 1983 when Nigeria decided to get undocumented migrants out of Nigeria. A majority of them were Ghanaians. So over 1 million Ghanaians were asked to leave within 2 weeks by the then Nigerian leader, Shehu Shagari. So in 1983, he asked them to leave and they couldn't really pack anything. And these bags came to their rescue. They just packed everything in the bags, carried them along, and Nigerians decided to call the bags Ghana Must Go bags because Ghanaians use that to go back to their country, Ghana.
And now this is officially part of the English language.
Quite interesting. Let's move on to a simple question. Who owns the English language? Because for a long time, the answer felt obvious. Britain, maybe the US, old institutions, old power. But here's a twist. In 2025, the Oxford English Dictionary, the ultimate keeper of English, quietly confirmed something many people in the global south have known for years, that English is no longer just inherited, it's being rewritten.
Yeah, exactly. We've got new words from West Africa, from Southeast Asia, from Southern Africa, and other parts of the global south officially entering the dictionary. Places where these English is a living language, places which are growing in prominence and vibrancy. And these words are not now just slang, they're not just footnotes, they are full citizens of the language. And when you zoom out, it isn't just about vocabulary, it's about power, it's about culture, and it's about the slow decolonisation, I think, of English itself.
Well, what we all know is that English spread through colonization, schools, churches, administration, media. But what colonization didn't fully control was what people did with the language once it arrived. People adapted it, bent it, mixed it with local languages, humor, food, music, and everyday life. And over time, those local versions became the most authentic forms of English in these places.
Yeah, and we've seen this before. I mean, right from the very beginning of the English language, when the Germanic tribes came in and these bits got incorporated. The French came in with the Norman conquest, that got incorporated. There was Latin from the church that got incorporated. All these things mixing together. And the problem that we had, I think, was that when language started to be written down, it was seen as being set, and it was seen as having a standard that then couldn't change. And it was kind of like, well, all these words we adopted in the past, that's fine, but now this is the language and we don't want to change it. But the reality is that in many parts of the world, that words from Latin America and Asia have been shaping English for decades, whether it's been recognized officially or not. And we don't translate these words anymore. We do use them regularly. Macho, which comes from the Spanish, being aggressively masculine. Gringo, again, a Spanish word that I think most English speakers would recognize. There's lots of food words, of course, where we've incorporated foreign cultures, taco, guacamole, that kind of thing. And these travel globally. So, I mean, I could go on for a long, long time. Favelas, cartel, narco, coyote, all these words which came to the English language from the Spanish of Latin America, really. And they entered English because English needed them, right? They didn't have a better substitute.
Yeah, and in March 2025, Oxford English Dictionary released a major update focusing on the world English, which that's how they call it. And this is where things get interesting because these weren't elite or academic words, they were everyday expressions. Giggle from the Philippines, in that overwhelming urge to squeeze something cute. Also, there's alamak from Malaysia and Singapore, meaning an exclamation of surprise or frustration. There's yo. I know South Africans would know that. They like to say yo a lot, which means amazement, emphasis, or emotion. Sharp, sharp, also from South Africa, meaning quick agreement or approval.
Yeah, giggle's fascinating because, English never had like a word for that feeling, but I think everybody can relate to it and everybody's felt it. And now it does. And, it's come from the Philippines, it's come from another language, and that's English really admitting its limits and learning.
Then came December 2025, and this time it was West Africa's time. That's West Africa's big moment. The Oxford English Dictionary added words that millions of people already use daily, especially from Nigeria and West African English. Abeg is something that's used a lot. I'm sure Nigerians use it, Sierra Leoneans use it, Liberians use it, Ghanaians use it. It means please or an emphasis in a request. Also, there's biko, and biko is a local Nigerian language. I think it's the Igbo language, which is a polite plea, and now it's used on social media by people who are not even Nigerian. There's also nyash, and it's a slang term for body cares. I think you may know that. There's amala and moi moi. These are foods that are eaten. There's mami market, which are community markets run largely by women. And then what we talked about when we started, Ghana Must Go, which is an iconic woven travel bag that you see at the airports, and now everybody's using it. You can see Asians using it, even Americans using it, and people even thought they are from Ghana, but they are not, just because they have the name. So Ghanaians want to own it.
Yeah, no, I think some of those words are brilliant, Ishmael. I'm definitely going to start using them, and I think I feel already that my language is richer because of this episode. And these words aren't just descriptive; they also bring history with them of migration, survival, like you say, with the Ghana Must Go, humour, business, commerce, and when they're in the dictionary, you can move away from people saying they're not proper English anymore.
Yeah, and the big shift here is that English is no longer controlled by one cultural center. It's shaped by how people live, not where the dictionary headquarters is. For a long time, people from the global south were told their English was broken or incorrect. And if I tell you the number of times I've gone through a lot of punishment in school, in elementary school, for speaking what we used to call vernacular English or vernacular. I mean, you'll be amazed. But now the same institutions are saying, actually, this is English too.
Yeah, and it totally makes sense. I was looking up how many English speakers there are in Africa. It's somewhere up around 240 million, something like that, which just dwarfs, there's 60 million of us here in the UK. Maybe there's another 300 and something million in the US, but then in Asia we've got almost 500 million people who can speak English. And I think you're right, this language can't be owned by a small number of people, the tiny number of speakers. It needs to be owned by the whole world of the English language speakers, the whole world of the Anglosphere, really. And decolonisation isn't just about borders and governments. It is about whose experiences get named, recognised and preserved. And I think it is time that we take words like abeg or giggle and we accept that these are words that English speakers use and these are therefore part of English. And this recognition then becomes permanent.
So maybe English was never really king. Maybe it's more like a living republic shaped by everyone who speaks it.
Yeah, and I do think that's one of the good things about English is that it can do this, right? Because unlike French, which has an institute which is designed to protect it and keep it pure and not allow changes to take place, English has, as I said, always had that potential to evolve. I think there's, like you said, in the education system there's obviously been a snobbery about it, but I think it's clear now that the global south isn't just speaking English anymore. It's now having a role in making English, in writing English, in creating English. This has been World Reframed. Thank you very much. Keep up with us on Global South World, and we will see you next week.